Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So, being of the generation that grew up on Sesame Street, one of the favorite games in Sesame Street is to play one of these things is not like the other, right? We're going to change that game a little bit today and play instead all of these things are just like the other, okay? That's what we're going to play today. And what I want to do is I want to take a look at a couple of, or number of different commandments within this week's Parsha and try to figure out why they're all together. What is the meta message that we're trying to get from this week's Parsha? And we're going to see that it's hugely varied. It's actually one of the richest parshiot, one of the richest sections of the Torah for all of these varied commandments, mitzvot, that we have. So if you'll open up to page 1112 in the larger of the books that's in front of you. We're going to just look at a couple of the commandments, and then again, I want you to think about, and I'm going to ask you, what's the connection? So the first one, which is important to talk about, but we're going to go through it quickly because Zev is going to speak about it a little bit in his speech, is the name of this parsha, right? Ki Teitzei milchama. When you go out to battle, these are the things that you are supposed to do. These are the things that you're not supposed to do. That we find on page 1112. But then you turn to page 1115 at the beginning of chapter 22, and we see, if you see your fellow's ox or sheep has gone astray, do not ignore it. You must take it back to your fellow. Even if your fellow does not live near you or you do not know who he is, you shall bring it home and it shall remain with you until your fellow claims it. So you find a lost object, you are supposed to return it. This is the origin of actually a very large conversation within Jewish law of hashavat avedah, returning a lost object. And how far do we need to go as an individual to make sure that that object gets back? So if somebody lost their cow and I don't find them, I don't return it for a year, does that mean I have to feed that cow for a year? Right? These are questions that are being asked and answered in that conversation. Let's go on to the next page. Verse 4. If you see your fellow's axe or ox fallen on the road, do not ignore it. You must help him raise it. Verse 6. If along the road you chance upon a bird's nest in any tree or on the ground with fledglings or eggs, and the mother is sitting over the fledglings or the eggs, do not take the mother together with the young. Let the mother go and only take the young, in order that you may fare well and have a long life. I'll do one more. When you build a new house, you shall make a parapet on your roof, so you shall not bring blood guilt upon your house if anyone should fall off of it. All right, what's the connection between all of these very seemingly different commandments? Sophia, you got your hand up first today. I like it. I like it. Responsibility and obligation to your fellow human beings, to your family, to your community. All of these things are kind of coming together to say, look, you have some responsibility here to be part of society and make it better. Okay, good. What else? What else are the connections? Bob?
You can't sit on the sidelines. You've got to take an active part in
Good. You can't sit on the sidelines. There's actually a piece in here that says, even if that ox or that ass, belongs to your enemy, you're still supposed to help. You're still supposed to return it. It doesn't matter. You can't sit on the sidelines. You can't just say, it's not my problem, or it's not something that I want to get involved with for whatever reason. Okay? What else? Anyone can play. What else? Marge. So to be aware of what is yours and what's not yours, and to have that real understanding, right? All too often we go through this world sort of looking at everything and saying, hey, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, that's mine, and yeah, it's not always the case. Okay? What else? So, a lot of people look at this week's Parsha and teach, and I don't think they're wrong, and teach that this Parsha is one of the most important to talk about building a world that we want to live in. Building a world that we want to. What type of society do we want to live in? Do we want to live in a society where nobody cares about their fellow human beings? We want to live in a society where everybody just goes and grabs whatever they see and not actually realize the fact that that may belong to somebody else. And that person is now feeling the pain of losing whatever that is. I was just recently on a vacation, and we were at a retreat sort of center down in Mexico, and I lost my sunglasses. I left my sunglasses. And normally, if you're at a place with a lot of people, you're going to say, all right, sunglasses, they're gone. I'm never going to see them again. But the feeling and the sort of the gestalt of this particular place, right, is really about supporting one another and helping one another. And it's kind of a health and wellness sort of place. And I said, of all places, I bet you, if somebody saw those glasses, they're going to bring it back to Lost and Found. And it was only a couple of hours. It wasn't even a long time. And I did, by the way, I'm getting to that age, I don't even remember where I lost them, right? It's not just that, I lost them there and I have no idea. I had them when I woke up and now I don't have them. That's all I knew. And so I went to Lost and Found and I described the glasses and they're like, oh yeah, right here. And they pulled out the glasses and there was a note on there where it was found, when it was found, who it was found by, and that it was returned. That's the type of world we want to live in, right? That's what's going on here. So, to a large extent, right, and I think the people who teach this way are right, this is about building the type of society that we want to live in. If we're going to go to war, what does that look like? How do we build a society in which case we understand there's going to be conflict, but there's certain values to that, right? All of these things fit together in that way perfectly well. And I could, at this point in time, end my Dvar Torah, say Shabbat Shalom, and be done. However, I think we're missing something. I want to challenge us to not think about this parasha solely in terms of how to build a society that is good. I actually think that all of these different mitzvot are there also to build people that are good. It's about us. What type of person do I want to be? Not vis-a-vis society, but what type of person do I want to be? Do I want to be a person that's going to stand by and watch an animal suffering and say, I don't care? Do I want to be a person who's going to see, people being mistreated in this world? Do I want to be a person who's going to say, well, I'm going to build this beautiful house and I know people are going to walk along the roof, but you know what? If they fall off, they fall off. It's not my problem. It's not just about building a society that's good. It's about building human beings that are good. And that's the piece, I think, especially in the modern world, I think we miss that. We are so invested in the modern world in tikkun olam, in fixing the world and building a world that's good, that we forget tikkun atzmi, fixing and building ourselves into the best people that we can be. I don't think it's an accident that we read this section during the month of Elul. Here we are, just weeks away, Rabbi Aaron, weeks away from Rosh Hashanah, right? We're all going to be back in here, and we're going to be reflecting on our lives and on the new world, on the new year, and how we can be better. Well, in order to do that, we have to have a starting point. We have to have a guide to say, what type of people do we want to fill this world with? And I think we forget that in the modern world. I think sometimes we are so focused on changing the world, which very often means changing everybody else, right? Well, if those people only would understand the world the way that I do, it's going to be a better place. It may be, but do you understand the world the way that they do also? Have you had that conversation? Have you pushed yourself out of your own comfort zone to think and be able to say, hey, do I really believe this? I love engaging in interfaith dialogue. Why? Not because I think that I'm going to change my beliefs, but when I speak to somebody and I have to articulate why it is that I believe what I believe, it makes me think about it. It makes me push myself. Do I really believe that? Does that still hold true? Is that who I want to be? Is that what I want to represent? And I think that Parashat Ki Teitzei, right, when you go out, even into the worst possible moments, into battle, who are you going to be? And so, in a powerful and a meaningful way, this absolutely is about tikkun olam. It's about fixing the world and making the world a better place, but not by going out and changing everybody else, but by looking inside and making sure that we are the people that we need to be. If we do that, and everybody does that, then you know what? This is what the world's going to look like. And the world is going to be the way that we want it to be. So as we approach these high holiday seasons, and as we begin to think about what it means to live in a world that we want to live in, let's begin with ourselves. Let's make sure that we are who we need to be. And then we can go out and share that with other people and build the world that we want to see. Shabbat Shalom.